the side events were, you said all 4 days, but they're really only for the first two were the side events. Um, so again, I don't want to take away anything from anybody, any of the achievements because what we was a good submission. But just to kind of, because there's a little bit of jug risk management juggling looking at these dates, like what's the optimal date for us to have our events. The option for the outside event being on their program was always there. It wasn't, I mean, they true because we submitted for an inside, they said to us, you should also now consider outside because you didn't get inside. But that possibility was always there, which means that even if you didn't apply for the inside, you still always had that option. So it was not that it necessarily means that they thought it had a lot of merit. So in fact, the first day, even outside events, the application says it has to be youth oriented. And our application wasn't, but it could be. I mean, it's very simple for application to be youth oriented because all of our points are exactly what the youth are interested in. So the tie can be enormous. But other than that, I don't have any inside information. I have analysis as other people do on what our approach should be, but no other inside information or observations. But Mikhail might have some.
Okay. As I understood, and let's try to confirm or deny that, even the 19 is available for a side event. So we may hold our side event the 19th of September. So I think it could be, our side event could be a part of our morning session or of our afternoon session. So we have to decide what is better to do because the morning session is intended to have several speeches based on our call for our abstract that is in the call for registration, and where we proposed one important topic that is the critical review of the Space 2030 agenda. By the way, at SRI, we are near to have a text on a paper on that, complete with a proposal of amendments. And also, and the main amendment is the adding of a fifth overarching objective. I don't know if you have read recently the Space 2030 agenda. However, they have 4 overarching objectives, and we are proposing to add a 5th one based on space settlement, basically, just to say it
Thanks.
in a few simple words. And we are also proposing many amendments to the paragraphs that are in the agenda, because yeah, the main criticism is that space settlement is completely absent from the agenda. Space is only considered a tool to help sustainability on Earth's surface. And the space development, civilian space development is not considered at all. So, of course, our proposal of a review is definitely a critical, radical review, because we have to add something that is missing, completely
Yeah.
missing.
So
Okay, so I hope we can we can use maybe part of the morning and maybe also the round table in the afternoon to talk about that and to see if other you know that SRI invited all the other organizations to undertake this work, to make their own critical review of the Space 2030
You
agenda.
mean member organizations of the 18th SDG? Which other organizations do you mean?
Well, yeah, SRI has several partnership agreements with some organization, with the Mars Society and others, so we are proposing to all of our partners, and many of them are, of course, many of these organizations are also inside the Space 18 SDG coalition. So it's a general call to the space community to read again, because I'm sure everyone has read that, but maybe nobody paid very much attention to the specific contents of this of the agenda. So I think it's time to do it, because 2025 UN will review both the 17 SDG agenda and the Space 2030 agenda. It is in the plan of COPUS to make this review. So we have to, the space community should arrive prepared to that appointment. And we cannot fail, cannot miss this opportunity to place the proper proposition, proper amendments, and so on. So I think it's very important that we use this opportunity of our workshop to officially launch, this this proposal of a critical review of the Space 2030 agenda. And of course, yeah, in the morning also we will discuss the main points that we are bringing on public attention for the urgency to start the civilian space development and so on. And so coming back to the side event, that should be oriented to the drought. Of course, we can, all of what I said is in the interest of drought, because they are the future, okay? And so everything we are making is for them. But of course, we can maybe particularly use those 75 minutes of the side event to concentrate a bit more what we are saying, what we are doing on the topic of drought, of their involvement, their education, their involvement in the developing activities in space, no? And yeah, another thing that it is subject of several amendments of the Space 2030 agenda, is to add humanistic matters that are completely absent. The Space 2030 agenda calls for promoting scientific and technical studies to the women and to the youngs and so on, and they repeat 3 or 4 times that scientific materials matters, and engineering and mathematics and so on. And we, of course, propose some amendments saying that philosophy, anthropology, sociology, and all psychology, and let me say, all the humanistic culture should be added to this promotion, because to open the high frontier, we need science and technology, but we also need philosophy very much, because without philosophy, we have maybe the means to go, but we don't know where, we don't know why, we don't know when. So, okay.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. Being a scientist with a physics, math, and computer science and chemistry degree, I couldn't agree more that philosophy is more important.
Yeah, yeah. And not only, we also had a couple of amendments asking to add to the schools, to teach in the schools the history of science, the history of space science, the history of the ones that gave their life for the progress, instead of
They were philosophers.
instead of only teaching the history of wars, of violent conquests and all, and because our what we are teaching at school is the history of the wars, the fightings on Earth. So we are teaching that to our young people. Then we are surprised that some wars explode. No, we shouldn't be surprised. Not surprising, because we are teaching that.
Adriano, did you ever read the book by James Gunn called The Listeners? I would strongly recommend it. It is basically, he makes the, I think, very salient point that what matters in the past is not so much our battles, but the past as it relates to the future. That's what we need to convey. That's what we need to inculcate
Yes, yes.
the youth with. The fact that, I was really struck the first time I traveled across the pond and found myself in the UK, and I found people talking about what their relatives did to one another 500 years ago. I developed a keen sense of why the North American continent was settled.
Yes, yes, yeah. But
Okay.
yeah, when I think in all the educational programs there will always be history, you know. So what we are saying is, okay, let's teach history, but let's focus more on the history of love, and not on the history of
The
hate.
things that make a difference.
That is,
okay. Do you find yourself torn up about what was done in Rome two centuries ago?
yeah.
Okay, that's kind of like worrying about heat death in the universe. Okay, there are so many things that happened,
Yes, yeah, yeah.
in the ensuing,
Yeah.
couple centuries.
Okay. So I was just trying to recall some arguments that can be used talking about jolts, no, in our 75 minutes of the side event. We could mention this kind of arguments, and yeah. Okay. Yeah, Mikhail, please.
Two questions. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you great.
So what jolts? What's that? You keep mentioning this word. I missed that.
Youth, I think he means youth.
Ah, okay. Sorry, I have two questions. First, just to clarify my understanding, I understand that the ultimate goal of us doing all that in September is to impact the Space 2030 agenda language to be heard and provide the biggest impact, so that our amendments, corrections, whichever we want to do, are introduced in that document. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, of course, the main subject of our workshop is always the Space18 SDG. So we have to repropose that to make the people know that we are continuing our campaign, that the campaign is not stopping, is making new things each year. And we have a big presence in Milan at the IAC Congress. We had presence at the ISDC in Los Angeles. We will be in New York in September, and so on. So this is our campaign. No, so we have to let me say, to shape our 19 September workshop on this concept. And then in particular, important things will be the Space 2030 agenda, the working for the JOLT, and yeah, this kind of things.
So our ultimate overarching goal remains the same, promoting the 18th SDG cause, but as a secondary primary goal is 2030 agenda.
No, I think he said it flipped. He's using the 18th SDG as a umbrella, but the 2030 agenda is the actual more important
More
topic.
important. Okay.
And I mean, it's relevant because I have the same question, because the side event is to coincide with the Summit of the Future, which is not the 2030, but it's all, yeah, I mean, it fits, but it doesn't, you have to make sure that it's not obvious it fits. We have to make sure we make the point.
Okay, because my second question was just to re-clarify in simple language as a 5-year-old relations between the SDG, UN agenda, 2030 agenda, Summit of the Future. Do they intersect? Do they correlate? Is it the same umbrella events or activities? Because now there are so many things and documents circulating around that I'm confused, and that's why it's hard to understand what's the main priority for the event. Like the 19th September event,
too.
Probably 18th SDG event, whereas that Summit for the Future, I feel it's more related to the document amendments, this 2030 agenda.
No, because some of the future is about youth. That's why it's called the future.
So okay, so it has nothing to do with the 2030 agenda document.
No, well, not specifically the document. Correct me if I'm wrong, but so I think it has nothing to do with the document. That's the issue.
Okay, we need to understand
itself. It's not a review of the document, but the content of the document affects the future. So that's the intersection.
Actually, Robert,
the main thing is to be there. Be there.
It is on the agenda for the main session. The action days in advance are the ones that you are keyed to the themes that you mentioned. Okay, but the main event includes the 2030 agenda.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I apologize. But also the action days there, I did have a comment on that, which I held. Actually, Mikhail, you mentioned that there's a couple of things floating around. You mentioned some of the future. You mentioned the 2030 agenda. You mentioned, but also remember the General Assembly was the initial reason of the summit, just to put it out there. And I'm not saying we're doing anything wrong. I'm just saying it's just to show the evolution, because it was on the 13th to coincide with the General Assembly. It was moved for some of the future. Now it's being retooled again, which is fine. I just wanted to clarify, though, Adriano, you said that it could stay on the 19th to be a side event. I don't think that's correct. Side events are only are action days, and action days to be on the program. Now, we can hold it any day we want, but for it to be considered an official event, official outside event, and be on the main program, it appears by what I read that it has to be on the 20th or 21st. It can't be on the 19th. Not that that's a big deal, but just to point that out.
Yeah, I'd like to put some military tactics into that, which is block the enemy, and the enemy is old thinking, and go around. So the important with the UN in September is just to be there to catch their attention. And then it's not all the paperwork and the bureaucracy. It's too heavy for us. And go around while they know that we are there, because we'll be there, and then go around to talk about the Agenda 2030, which is an important date.
Okay. Mikhail?
Yeah, right? Just quick comment, Robert. I understood that 21st, 22nd, I thought it's for on-site side events. When I read letter which Adriano circulated, I understood that offline, off-site events will still be considered side events of that Summit for the Future, even if they are on the 19th, 20th, 21st, or 22nd. That's my understanding.
Yes. That will be considered even if it is the 19th. Yeah.
Okay.
So, well, I think we have to consider that it will be, for us, it will be logistically better to make the side event the 19 because we are already there. We don't have to ask for the room in 2 different days and so on. So it's very much better for us to do it that. So we consider that we have our workshop on the 18 SDG, having a focus on the Space 2030 agenda and our goals, etc. And inside this day, there will be a module of 75 minutes that will be our side event for the Summit of the Future. That will, in that 75 minutes, we will try to focus more on things that we propose for JOLT people, for the JOLT people, because that is the topic of the action days of the Summit of the Future. So if they have to accept us, we have to talk of their proposed topics, of course. This is what I say, that the 2 things are not different, because we as I said before, everything we made is for the JOLT, of course.
Right, I agree with that.
Future, so it's not very much difficult for us to convey our discourse on this.
I agree with that totally.
Yeah. No, of course it will be hybrid, because we will be there for our workshop. Therefore, we should apply for an hybrid side event. What I don't know if we can choose the time in the day or not, or they will assign a time to us. This is what I don't know. And maybe reading better the call of the Summit of the Future, we can understand it or not. And maybe doing the application, they will ask for the time among the other things that they will ask. So we have to go there and make our application. But I think at the end we don't have real problems, because if it will be in the morning, it will be part of our first session. If it will be in the afternoon, it will be part.
We'll make it work. We'll make it work. Yeah.
And I think, however, we will know it in time in order to readapt our program, in order to readapt our program in one or the other case, morning or afternoon.
Just to clarify, will we apply for virtual side event or physical with a room of side event?
We're already there, so why not do physical?
So physical with a room. Okay, just
but it's our room, because we're already there.
Our room, yes, it's our room.
So we might as well. And
well, the Henk rooms.
Yeah.
They're the same. I think it's the same that where we were in 2023. I don't know. Maybe Henk knows more about that. If it is the same room exactly, the same building for sure. But I don't know if
actually, I think she said there's an option of 2 rooms, maybe, but maybe that was on a different date. But whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So the only requirement that the Summit of the Future gives us for the hybrid event is to be in New York, near the UN headquarters, but not necessarily inside. But we are inside, so it's even better. Okay, so that's fine. Okay. So I think we said what we are able to say, what we were able to say about the side event, correct? Now, going to the workshop, let's see. I think we okay. I will. I will take the website and you can see it together if something is to be changed or okay, let me share now. Okay. Can you see the page?
So before we go on to that, can we finish on the side event a little bit?
Ah, sorry. No, I thought it was finished, but if it is not, yes, of course.
Yeah. So although I still don't agree on the that the date is okay. We'll put that aside. I'll go along with the group for that one. But we still have a requirement, it appears, for state. And no, we don't have two. That they lowered the bar to just one. But it does appear that they want at least one.
Well,
One of
okay.
the options may
No,
be to
we can
get
go.
USA.
We can read the sorry. Where is my? We can read the email. You cannot minimize Zoom workplace when you're recording this meeting. Okay. So I cannot minimize. That's interesting. So I have to find.
So also, Gary, where do you have a more detailed agenda that lists the space 2030? Because I don't. The
Yeah,
PDF.
I can look for that. I will.
Okay, if you have a link to that, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just so I can get
No,
if there's any more
okay.
detail there.
Do we want to see the Space 2030 agenda? I have it, of course. I can share it on the screen.
No.
Share.
We don't care. We're not talking about that. We're talking only about some of the
Okay,
future right now.
let's take care now of the Summit of the Future requirements. Just a moment. I need to take back the
Take your time.
where it is.
How you doing, Frank? Welcome.
No,
I've been
I wanted to
just trying to figure all the relationships out.
the email that I got from them. I hope to find it. Okay, let me. Okay, kind request to organize. I think this is. It could be. Yes. I'm very lucky today. So, share. Okay. Okay, this is the email. The font is very small, so I don't know if you can read it. However, I will read it. It's not very long. Thank you for submitting an application to host an in-person side event inside the UN headquarters in connection with Summit of the Future Action Days. The call for side events yielded 200 applications. As space inside the UN headquarters is extremely limited, your side event proposal can unfortunately not be accommodated inside UN headquarters. However, we encourage you to consider hosting your side event in other locations in New York City or virtually and applying for an off-site virtual side event within the Summit of the Future Action Days side event program. to be featured in the list of off-site and virtual site events have to meet the following criteria. Take place in person in the New York City metropolitan area or an accessible online platform. Be held in conjunction with the action days between 19 September and 21st September. Must be closely connected to the themes of the action days and preferably demonstrate a multi-stakeholder, gender-balanced and intergenerational approach. Must be free of charge. If you wish to host your side event outside UN headquarters and be considered for our program, please fill out this form, and this is the form. If you wish to host your side event virtually and be considered for our program, please fill out, there is another form. So 2 different forms for in presence and virtual. Please find below a few critical points related to action days of site and virtual site events. The deadline to submit is extended to Friday, 23 August. The Secretariat will review submissions and notify the organizer whose side events have been added to the list of off-site and virtual site events on a rolling basis. Only events outside UN headquarters virtual that have submitted the event through the online form and have been notified by the UN Secretary will be added to the list of off-site and virtual site events, etc. For further information regarding side event, please contact, and here is an email. So this is what they are asking. Here, the requirement about having at least one state member endorsing is not listed. But
Adriano, if you click on any of these links, yeah, it says it's there.
Let's see. Let's go there. Selection criteria. Okay, at least one UN member states, at least one UN entity and or relevant. Sorry, so let's read from the beginning. In view of the large number of requests anticipated, taking into consideration the limited space and time available, the following principles will be applied by the Secretary when conducting this selection. Side events should ideally be organized by coalitions, including at least one UN member state, at least one UN entity and or relevant intergovernmental organization, and at least one recognized stakeholder network, CSO, NGO, major groups or stakeholder constituency with relevant work in the list, at least 2 regions. So I think we cover this criteria because we have a large coalition, 90. We have now 90 organizations. So for sure we are in this one. Why we don't have well, UN entity and or relevant intergovernmental organization. Okay, SRI is an observer at COPUS now, so I don't know if this can be considered a relevant intergovernmental organization. I don't know.
It may be useful for getting USA, the UN Office of Outer Space Affairs, to go through and agree to be considered a sponsor in those regards.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
puts you definitely in the game.
what? I'm sorry.
It puts so Guy said that it puts us definitely in the game.
Yeah, I mean, these are all judgmental.
Okay,
so
I'm just
even though
I'm just seeing that there is another important thing that say side events proposed for 20 September should in particular aim to mobilize youth actors. Side events proposed for both days should also be closely connected to issues of stakeholder inclusion and collaboration to drive forward solutions contained in the Pact for the Future. In addition, they should clearly indicate their contributions to one or more of the themes of the Pact for the Future. So, if we propose our side event for the 19th of September, we are not required to aim to particular aim to mobilize JOUT actors.
Again, I'll just say, because it's not one of the 2 days.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't say one of the 3 days.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think we should. The trick here isn't to look for loopholes. The trick is to be as compliant as possible, because they're going. I mean, this is competitive, so they don't want somebody might come up and say, well, look, we're focused on youth. We're on the 20th and we didn't get it, but they did. No, they don't want that exposure. So I just think we shouldn't look for loopholes. We should look to be as compliant as possible. But I mean, I defer to everybody else.
Well, it also says in the email, which we looked at before, must be closely connected to the themes of the action days, which covers it all. Youth, everything, as Robert says. Yeah, the closer we comply, the better.
We shouldn't run away from it, because I agree with what Adriano says. Everything we're doing is for the youth. It's just it just doesn't say it as clearly as we all know it. But as Adriano says, everything is for the youth. But this is supposed to be not just for the youth, but by the youth. It says involvement by youth actors, not youth beneficiaries. So it's what can the youth do? And they can. I'm not discounting. I'm agreeing with everything everybody's saying. It's just and it's obvious to us, but that they're looking for tools to mobilize the youth, get youth involved in being able to take control of their future. And like, really, nobody does this better than MSS. I mean, when you go to, Adriano was with me, Gary was with me, all those amazing youth that were creating the settlements and those competitions. It's just beautiful. The youth are deeply involved. We just need to say it.
Yeah.
And not try to loophole away from it and say, well, we're not on the 20th, so we don't have to. There's no reason to run away from it.
Yeah, so let's say that we should, however, be prepared to convey our speeches in those 75 minutes, including the topics related to JOUTs. Yeah, and focusing on that and so on. So it will not be bad. However, even if we don't have to, it will not be bad. No, I think. Okay. Good. Okay, application process, deadline 23 of August. And please review the full guidelines. Well, where is the link? No, here. Is here. The module is here. And then there is an X and so on. Okay. I think tomorrow morning I will do it. So.
Can we have the emails of all the delegates to the United Nations and send them in writing the speeches that we want to do individually to each of the delegates?
All the delegates of the United Nations, you mean the members of COPUOS or the 194 nations?
The 194 nations.
Okay, we don't have the email of addresses of all these people.
Can we have that?
Can we have? I think it's a hard work to get it. We, of course, we can search for that, and for sure there are. Yeah, I think on the UN website there is a list of the state members, but I don't know if there is the list of the people, of the delegates.
Well, or what are the contacts? We have to send to a list of 190 emails.
Yeah, so, okay, this is something, by the way, this is something that I wanted, it was in my agenda since a couple of years at least, because we wanted to send a letter to all the states, the UN states. So if somebody wants to, if somebody has availability of young people that is available to make this research, that would be very, very useful. It is not a simple work. It's not a light work.
No, but it is potentially valuable, very valuable.
Yes. So if somebody has availability of young interns, no, that can take this as a task and develop it in some weeks or yeah, I think that some weeks it can be done. That would be very, very useful. So
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe Guy, you are in contact with some schools at La Réunion, isn't that?
But I remember a contest we did for space power in 1990. We did not have the internet. We made a world contest because we thought that the subtopic was not known. The things for the contest were distributed in English, in French, and in blank. I made the layout, but no text, to the 300,000 delegates of the IAF, asking them to translate the message in their own language and to distribute it around them. So, and tell us what they had done. So eventually, our call was distributed in 20 different languages to something like 150,000 people through that scaled process. And what is important is to have many people to be aware of the need for the 18th agenda. So if we find a way to, but I don't know how to do it, and I can try, but I'm not sure I'll have the time. Send to all the nations representative and ask them to translate that in their own language, our message, and distribute them to, we'll have to find what kind of style of institution, but that this is redistributed in each country. And then we'll have many people aware and that something is happening and that they need to do something. Thank you.
Okay,
that's great.
So let's see if we can put together a task force to create this database of delegates at UN. Okay. So, okay, tomorrow I will apply. And see what happens.
Adriano, do we have somewhere a document that lays out the days and then the activities? Because as Mikhail said, and I think Robert too, maybe, there's so many different moving parts. I have to be honest and say I don't really know how they all fit.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So Gary said that the Space 2030 was on the agenda, but did you find that?
Yeah, I'm looking for for that actual agenda, I went out to the site, and that does not, the draft agenda is not popping up anymore,
Yeah, that's
which
why I
is
don't think it's there.
which is interesting.
Sorry, you're talking about the 2000 Space 2030 agenda?
No, he's
No.
talking about the
No,
Summit
I'm
of the
talking
Future
about
agenda.
the Summer of the Future agenda.
Summit of the Future. Okay.
But I claimed that the Space 2030 was not on the agenda of the Summit of the Future agenda. And Gary,
It is one of the review documents.
yeah, but
it was a listed item, but I'm
But they
not
have their,
I'm not materializing that draft agenda anymore.
I think they have their own document, Pact for the Future Revisions.
Yeah.
It's on the Summit of the Future. It's a different document, I assume.
Yeah.
As I understand it from last year, Summit of the Future is not a UN event, correct? It's
I mean, it does appear to be this year.
it is a UN event this year.
okay. But am I right that it was not last year? I remember Carlton making a big deal out of that.
Don't know.
Oh no.
No, but that was another thing, Frank. That was the Science Summit.
Okay.
The Science Summit in 2023 was organized by Declan Kirain
Yep.
and Vid Beldovs. And that was not a UN event.
Okay.
But it is this year.
But the Summit of the Future is a UN event.
And Science Summit is too, which is going on the same time as well, which we didn't even talk about yet.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I know. Yes, even this year they are doing the same thing, and it is looking like a UN event, but it is not. It is a private initiative that it has nothing to do.
Okay. I really didn't understand that. I thought it was the same.
Yeah, because summit, the word summit, is very much confusing.
Yep. Well,
I'm
been
looking on the site of the Summit of the Future right now, and I was trying to understand if, is this one, okay? Outcome documents and letters from the co-facilitators. Okay, Pact for the Future is one. Revision 2, Revision 1. Then Declaration on Future Generations and Global Digital Compact. Summit of the Future Provisional Program. Letter from the Office of the President of the General Assembly Provisional Program. So this one, Gary, you were mentioning this.
Let me go through.
This one, provisional program that doesn't pop up. Let me see.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, plenary day 1, Sunday, 22 September. Because this is the summit, doesn't include the action days, the first 2 days.
Right. And under the documentation is the summit for the future, or the Space 2030. So if you click on documents, And the
interactive dialogue 1, 2, 3, 4. Documentation. Letter from President General Assembly. List of organization with special accreditation. Letter from President. Speaker. Inscription for the Summit of the Interactive Dialogue. Concept note. Okay. Transforming global governance and turbocharging the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. This is Interactive Dialogue 1. Then, enhancing multilateralism for international peace and security towards a common digital future, strengthen inclusive innovation cooperation, and the future step enhancing the global system for current and future generation.
Adriano, if you go to the About on the top of this webpage, if you go up the way, all the way up, yeah, higher, 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 higher. See Home, About, click the About button. And then scroll a bit down, and it says, in September, world leaders convene in United to adopt the Pact of the Future. So I see that this is the goal of this event, and that's the document which they want to adopt. So
okay, so if we want to know which are the topics, this is the document.
I think this is the document. This is the key document for this event.
Pact for the Future. Revision 2 is available. Okay, this is the Pact for the Future. How many pages? Too many. 29, 30 page, 29 pages, okay. But now with artificial intelligence tools, it will be very easy to get a summary. However, I will download it. It's always difficult to understand where to put things when you download. Okay, let's put it here. You want me to get a summary now? I think I can do it. I can copy, give it to an artificial intelligence tool.
That would be helpful.
Let me see. The problem is selecting now.
Space is mentioned 19 times in this draft.
Space. Okay, let's make a quick search for some keywords. 19, yeah, 19 times. Strengthen the governance of outer space to foster its peaceful, safe, and sustainable use for the benefit of humanity. Okay. Our efforts to urgently address accumulating and diverse threats to international peace and security on land, sea, in the air, in outer space, and cyberspace. Provide equal justice, protect civic space. No, this is civic space, is not outer space. Advance discussion to prevent an arms race in outer space in all its aspects, which engage all relevant stakeholders consistent with the provision of the Treaty of Principle of the OST, with the view to agree in potential political commitments and a legally binding instrument with appropriate and effective provision for verification. Yeah, by the way, in our critical review of the Space 2030, we also have an amendment proposing the complete ban of weapons in space. To strengthen the governance of outer space to foster space. Okay, action 58. The exploration and use of outer space for peaceful purposes is identified by international law as a province of all humankind. Humanity's reliance on space is increased day by day, and we need global governance to be implemented. We are living through an age of increased access and activities in outer space. The growth in the number of objects in outer space, the increasing role of the private sector, the return of humans to this space, and our expanding reliance on outer space systems demand urgent action. Safe and sustainable use of space is critical to the achievement of Agenda 2030. The opportunities for people and planet are enormous, but there are also risks that must be managed. We decide to implement existing global governance and establish new frameworks for space traffic, space debris, and space resources through the committee. The COPUS. Invite the engagement of relevant private sector, civil society, and other relevant stakeholders where appropriate to inform intergovernmental process related to the increased safety and sustainability of outer space. Okay, so this is the action 58. Let me copy and put it somewhere. Okay. Then going ahead.
That's it.
Most of the 19 times occurrences are here. Yeah, it's all. So this is space. I don't think we can find something about settlement. Settlement is mentioned 7 times, but about what? The
Could be
Pacific
refugees.
to resolve conflicts. Okay. Settlement of disputes. Okay, is not nothing to do with the space settlement. Okay. Exploration. It's one only time, and it's what? Okay. Good. I think it's a generic action, but it's important.
And also, Adriano, there are 2 more documents which are mentioned in the same line. Global Digital Compact and Declaration of Future Generations as annexes to this Pact of the Future. Space is not mentioned in the Declaration on Future Generations, and that Declaration on Future Generations are all these youth topics which this event is emphasizing, I think.
Okay. However, well, I think in any case, this document is worth to be read and to see what it contains. It's about risks, I think, most of all. Well, where I was, stop sharing. Okay. Okay, so what else can we say about the side event?
Adriana, can you reply to that email maybe or clarify with organizers if 19th is an okay date? Because I think this will simplify things a lot if we have just one event on one day and have it both. as a virtual and a side event for the Summit of the Future? Because there is still a confusion about the date. Is 19th okay or not?
Sorry, which email are you talking about?
Well, that email which you circulated to us, the response to you, which said that we're not accepted, but we can apply. Well, the one which you showed on the screen earlier today.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's the only place where the 19th is mentioned. And if it's okay to hold this event on the 19th, I think this will clarify for us, and we'll pick the date and we'll do it in one day.
Yeah, I think it's an error, or it's for virtual. I mean, it's clear the action days when you look on the when we look, you just brought it up on the screen. The action days are the 20th, 21st. And again, even if it does allow it, do we really want to look for a loophole when people aren't planning those to be days when they attend? But again, I'll leave it up to the group.
Okay, so you think that holding our side event the 19th could be not attended because it is outside of the from the 2021 and so on?
I'm
Sorry,
positive
okay,
of
I
that.
made
If not, and possibly even not be on the program.
Bad composed question.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
They say that it can be for the 19th is a possible date for side events. In the email, it is written that the 19th is possible.
I think that's an error, or maybe only for virtual.
So?
Yeah, I do. But I'm not trying to be mean. I just want what's best for the group and best for the attendance. People are going to put a lot of work into the event, and I want it to be attended. And
no, it is written, be held in conjunction with the action days between 19th September, Thursday, and 21st September, Saturday. So Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday, 3 days. 19, 20, and 21. They also specify that it's Thursday. So how can be an error?
It could be an error. It doesn't matter what the email says. The attendees aren't getting that email. The attendees are looking at the website, and the website of some of the future.
So the difference, in my opinion, the difference is this one. If we apply for the 19, we can apply as a in presence because we are inside the New York UN headquarters, etc. If we want to apply for the 20 or 21, we may do it virtual because doing it virtual, we don't need to have.
I think you're mixing those up. You can do within the New York area. You're saying it's not allowed, or that's the preferred? Because it's clearly allowed. You can be within the New York area on the 20th and 21st.
Yes, but what I mean, okay. Yes, if we want to do it, let me say the 20, and we want to do it in presence, we don't need the big room that we will need the 19 for our workshop. We can make it in an office with avoiding to use the big room because.
But don't you want people to attend? Isn't that the whole point of it, of getting it on the program, is that it attracts people to come?
Yeah. So what are we considering? The possibility to make our workshop the 20, maybe, instead of 19.
No, I think you can do both. I thought the plan was to do both. Our full day workshop is on the 20th, still be on the 19th if you want, but that then becomes a feeder to the whole day event becomes a feeder to the 1 hour event, just like we did previously. We had a 1 day summit, and then you condense that into a one hour 10-minute speech or your presentation, and inform that, and also it helps drive traffic to the second event because you could still have hoopla. We still invite people, but I think that the link. You're in New York anyway.
let's also consider the logistical problem, because so far we have, okay, let me take the registrations that we have for the 19, just a moment. What I mean is that it's already is not easy to have people in presence one day. To have the same people present 2 days, it will be very much more difficult, if not impossible.
Yeah.
Just I will show you now the registration page where all the registrations. Okay, sharing. Sharing. Okay. So, we have now 18 people registered. Yeah.
And how many but how many are in person?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, and 2 maybe. So 5, maybe 5 in person.
But maybe 3, and one of them is you, which doesn't count, right? Because you can be flexible.
One is me. Yes, of course.
So far we only have actually 2, and wait, one is Gary. So Gary doesn't count either.
Yes.
Oh, shucks. I don't count.
Because you'll do whatever you'll do any. So we only have one guest that is of issue.
But Marie-Louise will not be there. Sorry, there is a mistake.
Oh, so
Marie-Louise will be Heuser will be virtually connected. So
we have there's nobody then really.
Yeah, we will not. We have.
So there's no logistical issue about moving the date.
Yes, that's true. So,
right? I mean, again, I'm just trying to be helpful. I'm not trying to be. I just want an event that's successful.
Sure.
So, essentially, there's zero logistical issues right now about moving the date, except room. Yeah, or adding the date. Either way.
Well, so I don't know, but maybe the people who registered for the 19 already put on their agenda, they saved the date, and it will be maybe difficult to ask them to move.
And we could still do we could still do our full day event on the 19th, and then do the side event that feeds into that this full day feeds into the side event that's in person on the 20th, so that we don't affect those if you want.
So
it's an option.
Okay, so one possibility then will be that we make our workshop the 19th without the side events inside, and we propose our side event the 20, let's say. Is that the proposal?
I think that makes the most sense. You don't want to look for a loophole. You want to be as compliant as possible to make it easy for them to say yes. And then you get the best of both worlds. So the other reason for not having the full day during an action day is because then that prevents us from engaging in the action day.
Mm-hmm.
And spreading our message. So if we want to infuse.
But what we can do in the action days? Nothing, because we cannot be there in presence. They don't have place. They don't have room.
No, we as visitors, we can. As individuals. As a
I see.
Just like when you do advocacy in your legislature.
Mm-hmm. I see what you mean.
We as an attendance, as participants.
Okay. So, well, but however, it makes it. No, it's coming. Adapt is coming to my mind. Is it worth to have a room at UN Plaza if we don't have people in presence?
On the 19th, you mean, or on the 20th?
No, both, because we okay.
Well, not, the 20th is the 20th. We wonder what this is why we want to get on the program. So if we get on the program by being compliant with what they're asking for, then they will help drive attendance to us. And then we will also do our own marketing as well. But once you're on the program, then the delegates coming for action days, and we have a compelling abstract that mobilizes the youth and attracts them to come, then that will help fill the room. And yeah. But on the 19th, that's a great point. If everybody's virtual, but just a few of us, then I agree that's a point to consider. Yeah.
But also, Robert, on the 20th or 21st, if we do this event, it looks like a virtual and offline event may attract more people. How likely that someone will walk into that room? It's probably more likely that people will dial into the virtual event. So it may be better to have two virtual events. Or can we broadcast the offsite?
99% of the time I agree with you on everything, but here I agree with you. But also there's no reason not to do an in-person in addition to a virtual on the 20th.
But if we have an in-person on the 20th, we can still broadcast it, right? So
yeah,
people
of
can
course.
dial in.
It's
that's
hybrid.
the point. We'll, as soon as we have an option for them to dial in and see it.
I think so.
And that will be participation in any way.
I mean, it's in New York. We have people that can be there. I mean, easily. I can be there easily. Gary can be there easily. Frank can be there easily. I don't know. I'm joking. I can't speak for Frank.
I agree that on-site event, physical event has a bigger weight. It's gravitas. It's like
and
real.
As you correctly say, we want as much engagement globally as possible, both from participants but also from our people for the side event. So it definitely should have a virtual option to it. Yes. But should the 19th be only virtual?
We can attract if we have the room there. Maybe we can attract the people that cannot access the official UN rooms.
Yeah,
they can come to
us. I mean, I would propose that we would try to have. I mean, this would be part of our proposal to make it compelling. Is that we lean in heavily. We on youth, and we have it at a university. We have it at Columbia. We have it at SUNY, CUNY. There's you could swing a dead cat and hit 10, 20 universities within a perimeter of the UN, and we try to get one of those to host, and that will attract two things that will, I think, make our application more compelling, because they'll see the hook to youth, and then it'll also increase engagement for the actual day.
So what we're saying that, just to try to be sitting and with the feet on the ground. We are thinking about making our workshop the 19th, okay? And for that, we should also try to get more people in presence, because if we have 3 people in presence, it doesn't make sense to have a big room, and if we can make it in the office in the Henk's office, and that will be enough. First thing. Second thing, we will try to make a side event the 20th or the 21st, possibly an hybrid event. Not necessarily in the UN Plaza, in the same room where we will be making the 19 workshop. That side event could be in another place, in a university or similar. Is that, Robert, that you were saying?
Yeah, I think it there's the trade-off is if it's at the UN Plaza, it's closer to the participants, but if it's at the university, then we may be more likely to win and have it approved because it has engagement. Plus, we can pull from the students and we can have the clubs on campus advertise and drive a different set of traffic.
My question. May we understand if this opportunity exists concretely in a few days?
Yeah, I'll do some. I can. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm afraid we have an action item here for you.
Yeah, I know that's the problem with talking.
Yeah.
I've done activities at Baruch University, Queens College, there, CUNY, SUNY, and this is And honestly, you could even do both. You could do it since it's virtual. You could do both. You could keep the office at Hank's place because it's only for an hour and a half, 70 minutes, and we could do it like a satellite event at the university or two universities, or because all you need is one student with a computer, and you got it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Good. So I think we have our workshop is the 19th, and that is decided. Okay. So no more doubts about that. And we will second thing, we will apply to have a side event the 20th or the 21st. We want to make it hybrid, and the site could be the UN Plaza or a university around in New York City, not far from the UN headquarters, however. Okay.
Or both.
So can we move? Anything more?
So we have Friday as the deadline for applications, and Adriano, you will spearhead this. You will fast forward and apply. You don't need any input from us, or how do we do this? It's just this week. This Friday is the deadline.
Well, yeah. Tomorrow I will try to apply, and I will see if there is some let me say controversial things that we have to that need to be discussed before typing in the in the online form. And in that case, I think I will postpone the application. I will do it in the afternoon or evening, and we can make it together, discussing and deciding together while making the application between me, Robert, Mikhail, and Gary, maybe taking this task to finalize our application.
Okay, the other thing that I'm doing is that I just saw a note that they have left open the EcoSoc NGO registration capability, and it turns out that the National Space Society, the IAF, and the Moon Village Association potentially have slots available. So I'm reaching out to them
Amazing.
see
Excellent.
about that.
Yeah, because we haven't even talked about that. Or would we have the opportunity to even attend the main events, not the even side events, in addition to the side events?
That's the what I'm trying to work.
Yep. Excellent.
The something's going on with respect to the Space Development Foundation application was deferred again. There's a present danger with answering questions explicitly.
SRI applied to EcoSoc, but we don't.
Yeah, we're now in the third year of the application process.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, friends, we are working. Gary and myself, we're working for the IAC 75 to have a booth at the exhibition center, and we had an offer by the company who make the setup of the booth and things like that. This offer is too high for our budget because they are asking for about 10,000 euros. That will be more. It will be added to the 10,000 euros necessary for having the place, the surface, the 20 meters, 20 square meters. So we replied asking for a reduced offer and also to have the tail of all the items because they didn't give us a detailed cost list. So we asked for the detailed cost list because we said we are a consortium and we have to justify each single item. So we're still waiting for that. And the past week was Ferragosto, in Italy is a summer holiday. Nobody works in that week. So I hope that they will retake discussion maybe tomorrow. However, I will solicit. So this is the situation. Of course, when we have an offer that we think that we can accept it, we have to consolidate our budget to be sure that the organizations who say they were available, they will confirm, and so we can go ahead.
Reunion Island confirm.
Thank you very much, Guy. And I think we also have other confirmation already from the Gary's organization, Space Development Foundation, and from the
multiple folks. There's at least four confirmed regardless, and then we've got multiple others. Including NSS, that basically are just waiting for a budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, SRI of course confirms, and we will see. Okay. Now, last point that I proposed in my agenda: the possible nations endorsing Space18 SDG. Currently, we have some. One is Ecuador. And Robert Aylon was trying to participate to our meeting today, but I have not seen him. So probably he was for some reason not possible to attend. However, Ecuador is a possibility because Robert directly talks with some minister of the government, and he is proposing our proposal. So this is one. We are also talking with Brazil because one of our partners, Renato Frota, is in contact with the ministry of the Brazilian government, of President Lula. So Brazil could be another possibility. I've also started Korolev. Okay. I've also started to talk with Egypt because at COPOS in Vienna, I've made acquaintance of Dr. How is his name? Setki, something like that. He is he was the chair of the 767 Assembly at COPOS, and he is the chief of the Egyptian Space Agency. And I believe it could be, it could be available to discuss about endorsing the 18 SDG. So if we could have Ecuador that is in Artemis, Brazil that is in the ILRS, and also in Artemis, I think, and Egypt that is with ILRS, that would be a beautiful situation because we will have countries of both the fields, let me say, Western and Eastern, and that was one of our goals, to not be aligned on one only field. Okay, so I think this is all now. I hope we will be ready to issue a press release in few days when we will be sure. Okay, we could even make a press release for the 19th, but it will be better if we can make a press release mentioning the 19th and the side event of the Summit of the Future. So let's try to finalize our question marks within this week in order we can move quickly, because yeah, September is now very near, is any more distant. Molto bene. I see that Robert is at the telephone. And don't know if we have other things to discuss today. Any more questions, problems, proposals?
Well, I'm good. I'm desperately trying to get. I am going through and I'm reaching out. I reached out to NSS, and I'm reaching out to Giuseppe, and I'm going to figure out who I can talk to with respect to the IAF.
Okay. Good. If nothing else, but I wanted to wait for Robert, maybe has something more to say. Maybe can interrupt a moment. Robert. Oh.
We should wave or kind of attract his attention. Robert.
Robert. Well, one last thing for me. Maybe we can send our documents to the member associations of the IAF.
Yep.
Member Association of the IAF. Oh, yes, there are a lot. Yes.
A lot, but not too many.
Mm.
Robert, you're talking, but your mic is off.
No, but he's on the phone. He's not talking with us.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I believe he is asking us to wait a minute.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, I'm triple tasking because we only scheduled this for an hour. I apologize. And um
we were going to close the meeting. If
okay, awesome.
Or
Did you say there was a person that you said you were hoping to be here that wasn't? And did you say,
yes, Robert Ailon from Ecuador.
okay.
He is the link toward the Ecuador government.
Okay.
Would be one of the state members that could endorse our.
Okay. So will we be able to put him in on our application for the side event? Because the first item it requests, it doesn't say.
Yeah. That's why I also I had hoped that he would be here because he accepted the meeting. So I hoped he would be here, but he didn't.
Okay.
One thing,
I mean,
but one thing for the sake of official presentation of the 18 SDG, I would like to hold a Zoom call as soon as possible involving Ecuador, Egypt, and Brazil, at least. Maybe Ghana also would be, and maybe Romania if I can convince Doreen Prunario to be in the team. So
is Monaco? No.
Sorry.
Is Monaco a member of the United Nations?
Morocco.
Monaco. I don't know. We have to see if they are at COPOS members.
If they are, they certainly would support.
Okay, I want to make a quick check for COPOS members.
I mean, Gary, half the country of Romania attends NSS, so you should be able to get some pull there. NSS ISDC.
Possibility exists.
You just tell them that they can't have half their population back, or the smartest half of their population back, unless they support.
So the last data are from 2022. I am seeing all the countries: Mexico, Mongolia, Morocco. No, Monaco is not there. Monaco is not a COPOS member.
Oh, James Bond would be just upset about that.
Indeed.
But that doesn't mean they're not a member of the UN, right? You just looked at the COPOS list, right?
But yeah, Monaco could be a member of UN. Yes, why not?
Because the requirement isn't a member of COPOS. The requirement is a member of the UN. The way I read it, it says member nation, member state.
Become, United Nations member state in 1993. So Monaco is a member of UN, but not of COPOS.
Doesn't have to be a member of COPOS. It's just ECOSOC in this case.
Well, let me see.
If you're a member of ECOSOC, you have status with EcoSoc, you can you can get badged for Copos or any of the other USA activities.
Well, I think to being member of Copos, to support the 18thSDG it would be better. I don't know if it is needed, but for sure it would be better. However, okay. But Guy, do you have a relationship with Monaco?
I don't.
No, Guy. I was asking Guy because he proposed Monaco.
Yes, I have.
Okay, so you could maybe talk to them.
I will.
Excellent, excellent. Maybe also invite them to apply for couples. I think any UN state member should be very easy to enter couples if they are interested to space, of course. Okay. Okay, so we can close. We will possibly adjourn in 1 week, maybe the end of this week, to see if, but also via email, just to give confirmation of some question marks that we have arisen today. And okay, so we know what we have to do. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful day or evening or night, wherever you are. Ad astra.
Take care.